Chiefs Kingdom has started its own history class.
This is a legendary run by a legendary team. You got to enjoy every minute of it.
Tagovailoa is in trouble. Sacked. Rashee Rice, one of the biggest plays this season. Stone Cold gets the big sack.
There's one remaining undefeated team in the AFC. It's the Kansas City Chiefs, and now the only thing standing in the way of a 5-0 record heading into the bye week is a primetime clash against the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, hasn't always been easy, but 4-0 is 4-0.
Take it, run with it. But this plus 61 margin in a 10-game winning streak is the slimmest margin in the history of the National Football League for a 10-game winning streak. That's going back to the Decatur Staleys and the Providence Steamrollers. But you know what? Take it and run. To me, it's a sign of strength that this Kansas City Chiefs team has been able to find so many different ways to win.
I think it broke the record held by the 2020 Chiefs as well. So, hey, we're winning, and I will take it. Hopefully 5-0 after tonight. We're going to talk all about this game over the next 20 minutes or so, but first, it's also our Crucial Catch game here tonight. Notice us wearing the Crucial Catch gear, and the colors around the Arrowhead logo, each color stands for a different kind of cancer that is treatable and beatable if you catch it early. That's the whole idea of Crucial Catch, encouraging people to get screened, talk to your doctor, that kind of thing. Nobody wants to talk about cancer. Cancer isn't a fun thing, but this is a great example of how the NFL uses its platform to not only change lives, but also maybe save lives.
It affects every player on this field. It affects every coach and everybody in this stadium, all of you watching. One way, shape, or form, it's affected all of us. Now, can I bring in somebody who's our special guest tonight?
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
bring him in here.
Come on in.
He's a remarkable human being. He's a phenomenal broadcaster. Grew up in Kansas City, Blue Valley High. Was with me at K-State. Took over as the voice of the Wildcats. Longtime voice of the Cornhuskers, Greg Sharp. Greg, it is awesome to have you here tonight at this moment.
And a big Chiefs fan. So it's awesome to be here with you two guys tonight. And you're right, cancer affects everybody. Every life in this country is affected by it. And I'm glad the NFL and the Chiefs in particular are putting the light on it.
In the spring, you announced, all of our hearts kind of stopped here, but you announced it, all of the Husker Nation and everybody, that you had pancreatic cancer. Just walk through that moment of saying, okay, and I love with the Nebraska baseball team, Big Ten champions, the way they reacted to you. But walk us through that moment and just this journey.
Kind of take a big, deep breath. You swallow hard and you say, yeah, I've got it. I've got stage 4 pancreatic cancer with spots in the liver and the lung. It's an uphill fight, but my body's reacting pretty well to treatment. So I'm, for the most part, able to live a fairly normal life. And I'm going to try to do that, Mitch, until whenever God says it's time to head home. So, you know, I don't want to pout about things. Live every day like it might be my last. And today is a glorious day to bring my family down here to a Chiefs game and watch us beat the Saints.
Well, you mentioned you're a big Chiefs fan. What does it mean to be here on Monday Night Football and just to experience all this?
It's been a long time since I've been to a game. My first Chiefs home game wasn't even in this building. It was at the old Municipal Stadium. We played the Lightning Bolts in 1971. So I go that far back with the Chiefs. Covered them a lot when I was doing television in Topeka during the 90s. Loved the Marty Schottenheimer era. I know you were a big Marty guy as well. That was a lot of fun, that era. So I covered a lot of games then. But to be able to come back and watch the Chiefs tonight, they're my happy spot. My happy place is when I get to watch the Chiefs play on Sunday or Monday or wherever it may be.
Well, another happy spot is your family and how they've surrounded you with this. And Cornhusker Nation, same. And even the way K-State responded
Absolutely.
to you. But just how you're surrounded by a lot of folks that help you every day.
It sure does. I feel that presence. I feel the power of prayer. I can feel it from people, the well wishes. Fox did a thing on their pregame show on Saturday about me, and I got a lot of emails off of that. And that means a lot. It spurs you on to get ready. The day you don't feel like getting out of bed, that one email might be the thing that makes you lift your legs up and get out and put one foot in front of the other.
Well, and the Huskers have really turned things around, it seems like. They're really competitive this year. At the heart of that is Dylan Raiola, Lil Cuzzo of Patrick Mahomes. Being a Chiefs fan, also a Husker fan, what's that whole experience like calling Dylan Raiola's games?
He's really remarkable for being a true freshman. He really thinks the game really well. He's not as good an athlete as Patrick. He doesn't have the foot speed and those type of things, but you can tell the football IQ is there. He's doing some really nice things as a true. I mean, this kid probably shouldn't be starting a lot of places, but he is at Nebraska, and so far so good.
Well, he could have fooled us. I'm telling you, he's a spitting image.
He's pretty good,
Number
man.
15. It's funny and fun to watch it.
Yeah.
We're going to let you go. But it is
Thank you, guys.
such a blessing to have you here tonight. And seeing you just peel off these weeks. We were praying you to UTEP. You got UTEP, and you just kept going. Don't stop, man.
5 out of 6 I've called, so I'm going to keep doing that thing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, man. Thank you. Incredible human being. Terrific broadcaster. And his wife, Amy, his 3 beautiful daughters have surrounded him, as well as Husker Nation. You can find the stories that have been done about him. Big Ten Network. You mentioned Fox just did a special pregame on him. But when you think about this night, what it means and how it affects everybody, the fact that a guy like that who's battling every day with pancreatic cancer puts it all in perspective.
And something that he said really meant a lot to me about how this is his happy place. What I love about sports is that no matter what's happening in your life, what you're dealing with, you can come in here for a couple hours and not worry about it. You're best friends with everybody, just rooting on the Chiefs. And he seems so excited to be here. I'm just happy that he is. So thanks for setting that up. Amazing guy.
And thanks to the Chiefs. A lot of people have worked on getting Greg here and to accommodate him and his girls tonight. So I'm really proud of this franchise and what they do that goes way beyond football. Love it.
Let's talk about this game a little bit. How about that?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Saints offense specifically. And it's really been a tale of 2 offenses for these guys this year. First 2 weeks of the year, they were unstoppable. Just came out on fire. They scored 91 points over their first 2 games, by far the most of any team in the NFL. No surprise, they won both of those games. Just clobbered the Cowboys and the Panthers. Last 2 weeks, not so much, though, offensively. They scored just 36 points overall their last 2 weeks. That's 21st in the NFL, and they lost both of those games. Question is, what offense will we get here tonight?
Well, this is a 4-0 Saints team, or 2-2 Saints team in 4-0 clothing. They are this close to being 4-0. The fact that the Eagles scored in the last minute of the game, that's a 3-0 slugfest in the fourth quarter. And you mentioned offensively being challenged, but they're capable. They're so capable. And then to lose a game against Atlanta on the road where they didn't give up an offensive touchdown, and you're going, how did you lose this game? And so that's where they're at coming into this game. This is a team with a lot of pride. Offensively, they're capable. That would be my word, even though they haven't lit up with 40 points. They also live off complementary football. They live off the return game. They've blocked a punt already this year. They live off a defense. We're going to get to them, I know, a little bit maybe. But the defense has poked the ball out 8 times. They're +3 in the giveaway takeaway, but 8 takeaways in 4 weeks. Ball priority is a huge priority tonight. I mean, ball security is a huge priority tonight.
And offensively, how about the season Alvin Kamara is having? So he leads the NFL in touches with 97, scrimmage yards with 536, and total touchdowns with 6. That would be a pretty good season for most players. He's done that here in 4 games. He's touched the ball on 46% of their offensive plays, and he's accounted for 38% of their scrimmage yards as a team. It's really not that complicated. If you want to stop the Saints, you got to slow down Alvin Kamara.
Andy Reid and I talked about it this week. He's in his 8th year. Him
and Kareem were rookies together.
They were rookies together. But he was the first back in NFL history to have 3,000 receiving yards and 3,000 rushing yards. This is like a basketball player who gets a double-double every night, because he can get a double-double on you. I think about Edgerrin James back in the late 90s with the Colts. He can get 100-yard receiving just like that. He can get 100 yards rushing just like that. There's so much pressure tonight on the linebackers and safeties of the Chiefs in defending Alvin Kamara in both the run and the passing game.
And you know what's kind of interesting about the Saints? If you only watched like Red Zone or just the highlights of the first 4 weeks of the year, you think the Saints are throwing the ball all over the place. They're really not. They're actually doing the opposite. They're running the ball at the highest rate of any team in the NFL. 57% of the time they're keeping the ball on the ground. Now, when they do throw it, that running game is allowing them to thrive off play action. Derek Carr has the 3rd highest play action rate of any quarterback in the league. He's found a lot of success with their play action passing game as well.
You know, you're playing tonight, you're playing the 49ers facsimile version, because what the Saints did, Dennis Allen, the Saints front office fired their offensive staff at the end of last year. They're trying to get back to the days of Drew Brees. So who did they go poach? The San Francisco offensive staff. So here comes the 49ers playbook. I talked with Spags about it this week. You are playing, when you think about Brock Purdy and the 49ers, that's what you're playing tonight. So with Clint Kubiak, you know about his dad. Like, Clint's been around the game his whole life. What they've done, and this isn't a knock on it, they've taken the package of the world of Derek Carr and reduced it. And they've reduced it to, let's start here, 49er style, and then come back from there. again, they're capable. They're capable of a big play. They haven't had many. Only New England has had fewer coming into week 5. But still, when you got Chris Olave on this team, Rashid Shaheed is one, number 22. He's just a big play waiting to happen. But this is a 49er kind of scheme, which goes back to Kamara and what he can do in the offense as far as zone runs and bootlegs off that.
All begins with Kamara, and they're a challenge overall. The good news for the Chiefs defense is they've been very good against opposing running backs this year. And we're saying this like every single week now on Field Pass, but the numbers just keep getting better and better. The Chiefs have now held opposing running backs to an average of 3.1 yards per carry on the season. They've yet to allow an opposing running back to top 50 rushing yards on them this year, one of just 2 teams that can say that, other being the Baltimore Ravens. And think about the players they've contained, players like Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry, and J.K. Dobbins last week. Once again, got to find a way to slow down Kamara here today because he's the whole key to this Saints offense.
I know this sounds like coachy cliche, but it's really the key to the game, and that is when you play a stretch zone team. That's what San Francisco does. We'll see it after the bye, is they spread you out, and then they look for a cutback. You have to maintain your gap integrity. There's a lot of pressure on this defensive front of the Chiefs to do exactly that. For the most part, they've done it. They've stayed away from the big run game. And you're right, the list of running backs has been great. But you also have to stay backside. So the integrity has to be there, and they always talk about build a wall, track the hip. But tracking the wall or building the wall is all the way across. And then don't over pursue, or Kamara can cut it back, and you got a big play on your hands.
And one key to watch today is the Saints' offensive line is pretty beat up right now. So they're missing their starting right guard, Cesar Ruiz. He's not going to play here tonight. Their starting center, Eric McCoy, is on injured reserve right now. Not going to play. And their starting left guard, Lucas Patrick, is questionable coming into this game. Could be a big night for Chris Jones if he can take advantage.
And one of their backups just went on IR, Shane Lemieux. So this is a patchwork group. They signed an old Missouri Tiger in Connor McGovern, the other Connor McGovern, former Denver Bronco, who's on this offensive line. To me, it's very similar to what the Chiefs faced against the Chargers. The Chargers had a patchwork O-line. The Saints have that as well. So, yes, the defensive group up front not only has to maintain integrity, you also have to attack this team when you get the chance and try to get a negative play.
And why does this defense not get the credit they deserve? I can't figure it out. So it's now been 25 consecutive games in which they have held the opponent under 28 total points. That is the longest streak in the NFL for any team in 17 years. Just not getting the credit, though, they deserve. I mean, how good were they last week? It's 10-0, and the Chargers have all the momentum in the world. LA didn't score after the first quarter. They were remarkable defensively.
And now you're getting, I know we're going to hear from Jalen Watson soon, but he's starting to play some ball. We've seen some guys raise their game. We talk about Turk Wharton every week, but he does it every week. And the fact that you've got a rotation of guys. This league, teams would covet what the Chiefs have depth-wise when they can bring in different guys on the rotation. We've seen Phoenix and Udike Uzama play some really good football. We know what Chris Jones can do. Pennell's steady. Getting Mike Danaback's huge. We know about Karlaftis. But to play 7 or 8 guys, Malik Herring, to do that and be able to rest guys so they're not worn out at the end is big, especially against a running team like the Saints.
Now, the Saints defense is pretty good as well. Let's talk about them a little bit. Number 6 scoring defense in the NFL at the moment. What stands out to you about this New Orleans defense?
Nasty, nasty defense. Again, I know this sounds like a copy and paste from the Charger game, but it's very similar. Number 2 in the league in red zone defense. They do not let you score. You get close, they're not going to let you in. They've only given up 2 touchdowns all year in 4 weeks in the red zone. And the fact that they look for the takeaway. They look for the punch out. They look to rip it out. And so, of all the guys who will touch the ball in this game for the Chiefs, and it should be everybody, if you're Carson Steele, you better guard that ball with your life, because these guys, some teams will search the takeaway. These teams live by the takeaway. And if you don't get the takeaway, you got a chance to really do some damage on them. But, man, they're nasty. And they'll get you after a 20-yard gain. They just live by it. It's their mantra. And so protect the football.
And what's interesting is they're kind of middle of the pack in most defensive categories, but they're really good, like you said, at taking the football away, and really good in the red zone. Number 1 red zone team in the NFL. Those are some areas the Chiefs have kind of struggled offensively this year, but great opportunity here tonight against a team that's good at 2 things you've struggled at, to maybe improve in the red zone and not turn the football over.
They got some underrated dudes. Carl Granderson is very underrated. To me, he's kind of the NFC version of Trey Hendrickson. And again, he's kind of nasty. He'll play beyond the whistle. There's a lot of local ties here. Nathan Shepard played at Fort Hays State. For you Tigers alums out there that are watching, he's very aggressive and plays hard on this team. Mario Davis. But their DBs is where I think they're really aggressive. Tyrann Mathieu back there, of course, the Honey Badger. But the rest of this crew across the board, they want to knock it out. And you can look at their nickelback. He's got 3.5 sacks. So they are going to give Patrick Mahomes some real tests. I always ask Andy every week, what's Patrick going to see? Let's jump into his helmet. What can we? He said he's going to see a lot. This is a nasty, unpredictable defense that wants to yank the ball out.
There are so many former Chiefs on this defense. Now, they're not all going to play here tonight, but Tyrann Mathieu, Colin Saunders is on their defense.
He's playing great. I should have mentioned him. He's playing awesome. He's right next to Granderson. He's starting, and he's been difficult to block, so he's playing awesome for them.
Tano Passanio is on their roster. I think he's hurt right now on injured reserve, but still he's there. And, of course, Tyrann Mathieu. And I mentioned Willie Gay.
And you want the other local guys?
Of course, yeah.
You got Christian Boyd, who played at Blue Springs High School.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
You've got Blake Groupie, their kicker, who's from Sedalia, Missouri, Smith Cotton High School.
Probably keeping an eye on the Royals score tonight.
He will. He'll be punting and then or kicking. I'm sure he's a place kicker. And then they signed another guy. They just brought him up from Kearney, Nebraska. I want to get it right because Greg Sharp called his games at Nebraska before he transferred to South Dakota State. Isaiah Stallbird. There's local dudes all over this team. I don't know who's looking at us on their staff, but I think they got eyes on us.
Now, speaking of defense, you mentioned Jalen Watson earlier. Jalen having a heck of a season. And we actually had a chance to catch up with Jalen on the latest episode of Defending the Kingdom earlier this week.
Well, as promised, and part of our Attacking Challenges podcast, we bring in the perfect dude, Jalen Watson, number 35. I don't know what it is about the Chargers that gets you fired up, but you have some of your best games against them.
Right.
One of my favorite all-time regular season calls was your 99-yard pick six your rookie year.
Electric,
People keep playing it over and over, and I love it. But just winning that game, showing some toughness as a team and as a DB group to pull that game off.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. You know, the Chargers, they always present so many problems, and you got Herbert, such a talented quarterback, and to just go out there, you know, we didn't have the best first quarter, and then to not give up any more points, it just showed how we stay together, how we're a unity, and how we just fight together to the end and find ways to scratch, claw, and get a win.
So your numbers in coverage were obviously really good. More than 30 coverage snaps. I think you were targeted 5 times, didn't allow a single catch, 2 of those on third down. But your run defense was also impressive. You had that great play on 3rd and 1 on Dobbins where 3rd and 1, they're going to pick it up, and you say, no, I'm going to come around the edge and stop them, and they punted. Playing for Spags, I feel like as a corner, you have to be a good run defender. Can you speak to that and why that's important to you?
Yeah, he always preaches, you know, how our DBs, we tackle well, and it's going to be hard to, you know, get on the field and play in this defense if you can't. And our DBs, we do a great job, and everyone holds each other accountable. And tackling is just a will thing. You just have to want to do it, and all 11 guys buy in, and that's what we do.
Not all corners want to tackle, but this guy does.
Oh, yeah. So all of them do. Close to a pick six. Are you thinking about another Charger pick? It's close.
I hate talking about it. I always brag on me and the DBs. You know, we be in competition to show who had the best hands, and I always said I did, but I'm going to just be humble now. I'm going to be quiet, sit back, and, you know, just wait for another one.
None of them have a 99-yard pick six. You got scoreboard on them. But I do want to ask you about, and Matt and I talk about all the time, the 22 draft class. Your guys, especially the Fab Five, but really everybody in that group. You guys are 43-0 in the playoffs as defenders. What makes the group special, and did you see it from the very beginning with your pledge class, so to speak?
Yes, I promise I seen it. It was OTAs. It was like the second week of OTAs. Mind you, this defense is so hard to pick up on. And we used to have meetings in a rookie hotel, just the whole Fab Five trying to go over the playbook and get it all together. And then it was one practice, all 5 of us practiced really well, and we were like, we're going to be really good. And all of us agreed, and just to see it happen, everyone coming into their self, it's a great thing to look at, and we're just excited and trying to get another one.
Is there something about all the playoff experience and success that you guys have as a unit and as a defense overall that when you're down 10-0 on the road against the Chargers, nobody panics? Everyone knows, like, we got this?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Spags preaches that, our leaders. We're down 10-0. Chris came in the huddle and said, this is nothing. We've been here before. We've been through worse, and we all knew that the offense was going to get it clicking. We just got to find a way for all 3 phases to click at the same time, and we'll be a pretty scary team.
On your 99-yard return, I was kind of like reading your bio as you're going down the field. I said, from cooking hamburgers in Augusta, Georgia, JUCO, and fighting through all the injuries, to having the career you're having, are there times, let me ask, how many times are there you just sit down, you're by yourself and going, man, what a ride this is? Do you ever have those feelings?
Sometimes I do, but I always want so much more for myself. I know my potential. I know what I can be, and watching guys like Trent accomplish what he's accomplished so far, and being under Snead and just watching those guys go after it, it instilled something in me. Snead taught me so much. I, miss him so much. That's my dog there. But it's the next man up, and I know I have big shoes to fill, but each and every day I'm trying my best to do what I can to, help this team out.
You just told our social team that you were 35 because you were the 35th corner out of 36 taken in your draft class. How does that motivate you? Because you obviously are a lot better than the 35th corner taken that year.
Yeah, I mean, it put a chip on my shoulder coming into the league, just watching so many guys get drafted in front of me and me looking at it as if I should have been drafted a lot earlier. But each and every game, you just have to make everyone that look past you pay for it.
You guys, and talk about the 22 class, you guys prepare so well for every week. Final question deals with the Saints. Chris Olave's there. Rashid Shaheed seems to be underrated. The dude can fly. Yep. What about defending these guys?
I mean, we're just starting the playbook and, watching film. We're going to let Spaz cook. That's what he does every week, and we're going to trust in his game plan. And whatever we have, I'm sure it's going to be a great game plan, as he does every week.
Maybe be another pick 6 this week. But know this, number 35 will be attacking the Saints.
From Jalen Watson, we're now joined by one of the greatest players in franchise history, this team's all-time leading rusher, and a guy who knows a thing or two about big plays against the New Orleans Saints. It's Jamal Charles. Jamal, what's going on, man?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, man. Come back home and see the great environment and see people I know. It's amazing.
Wanted to ask you about that. You had so many amazing moments and memories on this field. When you're walking out of the tunnel like you did a few minutes ago, what are the emotions like?
Oh, it's just like you think you got it, but it's not. You don't got it. You feel like you want to, you know what I'm saying, you wanted to go out there and do something, and that's what I feel like, man. I feel like, man, I wish I still can do it. You know what I'm saying? I wish I still can show people my talent, because everybody be like, man, I miss you playing. And I'm like, man, I miss me too.
I remember your incredible game, Andy's first year when you had the 5-touchdown game against the Raiders. Port Arthur Toughness, baby. That was my nickname, Pat, P-A-T.
Yeah.
But how much satisfaction do you have in the fact that you helped build this? You were here to build it from the very beginning.
Nah, man, I was just here trying to bring the passion and play with just a different type of a playing style that, you know what I'm saying, that can help my other teammates and motivate them to raise their level of play, where I can continue to, you know what I'm saying, it didn't start in the game, but also started practice for me too as well. So a lot of stuff I did was like push my players to be greater than me, so they can raise their level of play and they can show what the God-given talent they have, they can pull it out of them. So what I try to do is just try to raise everybody playing around me to a high level. And that's why I hope that it gets passed on. Like, even when I got here, Trav was a baby when I got here. But, you know what I'm saying, it just saw the hard work, because it was the people before me, like the Tony Gonzalez. I seeing him at practice and running like Ross. And I'm like, man, this man, he running Ross. He 15 years in the league, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's still, like, doing stuff. So it just those stuff I want to pass down the some of the great players that played before me and I played with, you know what I'm saying, pass it towards the young players when I was here.
I mentioned that amazing game you had against the Saints way back in 2012. Just incredible. The 91-yard touchdown, you rushed for like 250 yards.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that day, and what's it like when you're just so much faster than everybody else?
That's the best feeling in the world, when you know you can't get catched by not too many people. That's the best feeling, when you know you have the speed to break the runs and go a long way. It's just all the track speed for me. So I know if I hit a corner, I know nobody's really catching me, because a Big 12 champion. You know what I'm saying? So it just that game was just, you know what I'm saying, it fell in the games for some of the great games I played, like in the Raiders game. That game just
so much fun.
It was feel like I was back home because I'm from Port Arthur in the area, so it's just like I'm back home. I had like 2 Charlotte buses coming up to see me, and people on the bus, like 100 of my family members coming up there to see me. So I was like, man, I'm home. I got to show out. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I had that wrapped around me, like loved around me to show my talent.
And the fans are just throwing their arms up like, what are we supposed to do? That Raiders game, I remember you're looking at the black hole, you're just wiping your shoes off, and they're doing things they can't show on TV, and you're like, sorry, you know. Like.
That game was fun. Actually, somebody threw beer on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, man.
Come on, man.
At least let you sip it. The Triangle is so proud of you, and it's a memorable time for me when you had me down there for Coach's Roast and to do your camp. But I want to ask you your influence on youth, but even the guys on this team. 3 running backs will play in this game. Carson Steele, you talk about being a baby. He's fresh. Samaj A.P. Ryan, right? And then getting a chance to have Kareem Hunt circle back. What would you tell those guys tonight and in the future about succeeding in this offensive system with Coach Reed?
Man, when you get a chance to be around one of the greatest coaches ever, you got to take advantage of the opportunities that you're given. Because I haven't been around a lot of those great coaches. So when I had Coach Reed, he raised your level of play. So I tell him, when your number is called, you got to take advantage of every opportunity, because sometimes you might not know when that opportunity will come again. So he'll put you in the right place to make plays, like he always do for everybody. And no matter who he put in a position to make plays, he will set you up for success. And that's what you want as a coach. So I tell him, hey, go out there and do your best, but not so do your best, but show the people that what coach think that you can do that. That's why he put you in the position.
Last question, then we'll let you go. But you're going to be up on the drum, I think, tonight. I think you've done it a few times, haven't you?
I did it like 2 times, 3 times.
Okay, so you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
What's it mean to you, though, when you're up there, they show you on AeroVision, the crowd goes crazy, and everyone welcomes you back? What's that feeling like?
Oh, man, that's like you just want to rip a shirt out. WDW, like, raw rumble. Like, that's the feeling you get, but it just I don't know, man. Just feel like you in the Gladiator movies. Like, you see the crowd yelling, and you're seeing all your highlights, and it's just something sometimes you can't really explain till you go out there and really do it. But it's one of the best feelings to not just when you play football, but it's one of the best feelings of bringing back good memories.
Well, Jamal, you're a legend. Chiefs Kingdom loves you. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Port Arthur toughness, baby. Port Arthur toughness.
What up, boy? Good luck today. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
All right. We'll jump into the inactives here in a moment, Mitch.
Are we good?
Thanks, Jamal.
Thanks, brother.
We appreciate you, man. You know the best thing I can say about a guy, the biggest compliment I can give to a player is growing up, Jamal is like one of my favorite players, right?
Yeah.
And all my usernames and passwords had 25 at the end of them in honor of Jamal
You've changed
Charles.
them now, though, right?
I've changed them now,
everybody's out there going, ooh.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but everything was 25. He was the absolute best, such a legend. So cool having him on. We'll have the inactives here any moment. We know a few of them already, though. So with the Saints, they have some big guys that are not going to be playing in this game. We'll start with the defense. We talked about Willie Gay earlier. Willie's not going to play here tonight. And fellow linebacker Pete Werner not going to play here tonight. That's 2 of their 3 starting linebackers not going to play. That's a big deal.
And Werner was a late scratch. He hurt his hamstring in Friday practice. Why is that a big deal? You put in your game plan earlier in the week, even with Monday Night Football, where there's Thursday's a Friday and Friday's a Saturday, still to go down on Friday is different than knowing you're not going to have. They knew they were not going to have Willie Gay Jr. this week. They thought they were going to have Werner. So now all of a sudden your game plan is set up for Werner. You have to adjust on the fly. We've seen the Chiefs do it. The Saints will be forced to do it tonight.
I mentioned it earlier, also have some issues on their offensive line. So starting right guard Cesar Ruiz not going to play here tonight. And starting center Eric McCoy not going to play. We'll see when we get the inactives here in a minute or two if left guard Lucas Patrick is going to go. I have to imagine he'll try to play, but they are banged up on their offensive line.
They got to have enough dudes. Again, they called up Connor McGovern from the practice squad. He's a veteran, but very similar to the Charger game, as I mentioned. You're trying to find enough guys on the offensive line and at linebacker in this game. But the biggest inactive to me, I know you're coming to it, and I'll let you say it because it's way bigger than people realize for the Saints not to have
Taysom Hill. Yeah. Taysom Hill not going to play here tonight with fractured ribs. Huge deal. And his numbers don't really do his impact justice because he just changes everything when he's back there. He can do a little bit of everything. He can line up as a wildcat quarterback, especially in the red zone. He can catch the football. He can do all kinds of things. Not having Taysom Hill really changes their offense.
Okay, let's just put it in perspective. You kind of alluded to it. He can play quarterback on the power. He plays running back in the I. He's played fullback. He's played slot. He's played tight end. He's played the X position. He'll play personal protector on punt, so he's a threat to fake punt every time. He plays on defense some. Here's what this does is give a couple of pages can be ripped out of Spags' preparation. And I don't mean that to be, don't take it wrong. But Taysom Hill, more than any player in this league, can jack with a defensive coordinator's preparation. You have to prepare for everything, not just everything from a scheme, Matt. You got to prepare where is he, because where is he dictates a whole lot of stuff. The fact that he's out of there, Spags does not have to worry about it. Plenty of stuff to worry about, but Taysom Hill, to me, is in many ways the most unique player in this entire National Football League.
He's like the kid in middle school who's so much better and more athletic than everyone else and can just play every single position. Not having him is a very big deal. Looking at the Chiefs, the one that we're waiting on is McCole Hardman. He was listed as questionable coming in. We don't know yet. I don't have the inactives quite yet. We know Rashee Rice is not going to play, though, and Rashee will not show up on the inactives report. Well, that's because he is on injured reserve. Still don't quite know the prognosis for Rashee. We likely will here in the coming days, but not playing here tonight. We know that for sure. Who's going to step up without Rashee here tonight?
Everybody that has the ball, everybody who can touch it. And keep in mind, he's going to wear 89 tonight. Jody Fortson is back. I fully anticipate when we get these inactives, we'll have 4 active tight ends in this game. But we know about the multiplicity of talents that they have, but that doesn't mean you're going to sit there and run the ball every time. But all 4 of those guys can touch it tonight in the passing game. Then you look at the wide receivers. Everybody, we know what Xavier Worthy can do. Juju Smith-Schuster's got to be more of a factor. Justin Watson, Sky Moore. If your number's called, baby, bring it out. Bring it out. All 3 running backs. We just talked to Jamal about it. Everybody that's eligible to touch the ball in this game, except the offensive linemen, we even throw to them if we're going to throw to Wanya again tonight. But the point is here it is, Matt. It's not one single guy. There's not one guy. It's all of them. And and I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. All of them are going to have, if they get the number called, and they could all have it be called tonight, they've got to make the regular play and maybe the special play, and that's how you make up for Rashee Rice.
Another player who will not likely show up on the inactives report but is not playing is running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, Clyde has that illness. He's not played yet this year. His practice window is now open, so he practiced this week, but he was not activated off injured reserve quite yet. So might get Clyde back maybe after the bye, but Clyde's not going to play here tonight. You mentioned this earlier, though. Could be a big game and opportunity for Kareem Hunt, particularly with those injuries in the middle of the Saints defense.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in some IJP. Ryan and Carson Steele's got to take care of the football, but Kareem Hunt, instead of being, oh, hey, Kareem's back, now you're going, gosh, I hope Kareem can do what he did last week or maybe even more. 14 carries for 69 yards, but those were very effective plays. And all 3 of those running backs can get yards after contact. You're going to need that against the Saints because they're very physical, as we mentioned, in protecting the football. But you can also wear down a defense. And you can wear down a defense playing the whole tag team thread with 3 physical running backs. But having Kareem look like he didn't miss a beat much since he was left here in 2018 is really a cool thing.
He had some juice last week.
Juice.
Like he was running like he was 22 years old again. It was something else.
But you know this, and you've been in this league long enough to come back with fresh legs and do it.
Yeah.
Now what's it going to look like this week when you've been pounded on by the opposing team last week 14 times plus?
Now we have the inactives, just got them. The good news for the Chiefs, looks like McCole Hardman is active tonight.
Great.
Yeah, McCole Hardman is active.
That changes the
tonight.
whole return game, as you know. If he can't play, man, that throws everything off. So that's good news.
Yeah, McCole Hardman active. No real surprises here otherwise. Looks like Jody Fortson is active as well. So there we go. You called it.
Bing. All right. 4 tight ends. Get ready. Maybe all 4 at the same time.
Now, we said the Saints, they're beat up right now. We all know that. It'll be a challenge, though. The Saints team is playing some good football this year. But what an opportunity for the Chiefs. Hopefully in a few hours, we're talking about a 5-0 start heading into the bye. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory. And go run.